Hello and welcome to Indus News, live from Islamabad. I am Munib Hamid with the news of this hour. Let's begin with the headlines first. Libya's rival Western and Eastern factions have agreed on a mechanism for choosing a new government. At the Libyan Political Dialogue Forum in Geneva, acting UN Libya envoy Stephanie Williams said the selection of a transitional government could be possible in several weeks. "32 people have been killed in clashes between Arabs and non-Arabs in Sudan's West Darfur state. Medics say at least 79 others were wounded and fear the death toll may rise. The Sudanese authorities have imposed a round-the-clock curfew in the state following the violence. In the United States, all 50 states have been placed on high alert for possible armed protests ahead of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. Thousands of National Guards have been deployed in Washington, D.C. to secure the event on 20th of January. The FBI has warned of possible armed marches by President Donald Trump's supporters in all state capitals. Iran has rejected France, Germany and Britain's criticism over its plans to produce uranium metal. Atomic Energy Organization of Iran says the issue of metallic uranium factory differs from the production of advanced fuel. Earlier, the three European nations warned the latest violation of the 2015 nuclear deal will have grave military implications. Brazil has reported over 1,000 deaths from the fifth day in a row as the country's death toll surges to over 209. In Pakistan, over 2,500 people tested positive and 43 more lost their lives overnight, raising the toll to close to 11,000. Globally, the virus has claimed over 2,021,000 lives while infecting nearly 94.5 million people so far. And in football, Leicester City have defeated Southampton 2-0 in their Premier League encounter at King Power Stadium. James Maddison and Harvey Barnes netted one each to seal the win for the Foxes. The win moves Leicester City to second place on the league table with 35 points. These were the headlines. News in detail after a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now let's have the news in detail. Libya's rival Western and Eastern factions have agreed on a mechanism for choosing a new government. The development came during the UN-led Libyan Political Dialogue Forum in Geneva. Acting UN Libya envoy Stephanie Williams said the selection of a transitional government could be possible in several weeks. The United Nations said the transitional government will lead the war-torn country to elections in December. Stephanie Williams said the agreement represents the best possible compromise on the issue. However, the envoy also warned that there would still be people seeking to obstruct peacemaking efforts. Libya has been split between warring factions since 2014. Now, 32 people have been killed in clashes between Arabs and non-Arabs in Sudan's West Darfur state. Medics say at least 79 others were wounded and fear the death toll may rise. The Sudanese authorities have imposed a round-the-clock curfew in the state. The violence erupted in the provincial capital of Vienna when an Arab man was stabbed to death in a camp of internally displaced people. The suspect has been arrested. Meanwhile, in the United States, all 50 states have been placed on a high alert for possible armed protests ahead of President-elect Joe Biden's inauguration. This comes amid FBI warnings of possible armed marches by President Donald Trump's supporters in all the state capitals. Thousands of National Guards have been deployed in Washington, D.C. to secure the event on January 20th. In Washington, a man has been arrested carrying fake inaugural credentials, a loaded handgun, and over 500 rounds of ammunition. Among other states, Michigan, Virginia, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania also activated their National Guards to strengthen security. The state of Texas has closed its capital through Inauguration Day. Meanwhile, President-elect Joe Biden announced his Science and Technology team, elevating the Science and Technology Policy Director to cabinet-level status for first time in U.S. history.
I was telling these four brilliant scientists as I stood in the back, in a way, this is the most exciting announcement that I've gotten to make in the entire cabinet, raising this to a cabinet-level position in one case. These are among the brightest, most dedicated people, not only in the country, but the world.
According to a memo seen by U.S. media, Biden will sign executive orders rejoining Paris Climate Accord and ending travel ban on Muslim countries on his first day. Well, now Iran has rejected France, Germany and Britain's criticism over its plans to produce uranium metal. Iran's Atomic Energy Organization said the issue of metallic uranium factory differs from the production of advanced fuel to be used. In a statement, the AEOI said the production of metallic uranium in accordance with a strategic act approved by the parliament. It added that the Advanced Fuel Silicide program was first presented to the IAEA more than 2 years ago. Earlier, the three European nations urged Iran to halt its plans to produce uranium metal. They warned the latest violation of the 2015 nuclear deal will have grave military implications. They also called on Iran to return to full compliance with its nuclear deal. Iran has tested long-range missiles and drones against land and sea targets in a large-scale military show-off force. The Revolutionary Guards fired long-range ballistic missiles that traveled 1,800 kilometers. Iran's Armed Forces Chief of Staff Major General Mohammad Bagheri said Tehran has no intentions for any aggression, but warned that any aggression towards Iran will be met with full force. The tests were conducted amid heightened tensions with the United States. Now, Saudi Arabia's Foreign Minister Prince Faisal bin Farhan says Riyadh will reopen its embassy in Qatar in the next few days. This comes a week after Saudi Arabia and the three Arab states agreed to fully restore ties with Qatar in a US-backed deal. Speaking to the media, Prince Faisal said it's only a matter of logistics when asked about embassy reopenings. He added full diplomatic relations will resume. The countries have opened up their airspaces to each other and some flights have resumed. Riyadh and its allies cut ties with Qatar in 2017, accusing it of backing terrorism charges Doha denies. Now, Brazil has reported over 1,000 deaths for the fifth day in a row as the country's death toll surges to over 200. Brazil Air Force and Venezuela are flying in respirators and oxygen as scarcity aggravates COVID crisis in Brazil's Amazonas. Mexico has registered its worst week yet of the pandemic, with record high infections and more than 7,000 COVID-19 deaths. The Mexican government says the real number of infected people and deaths is likely significantly higher than 140,000 official count. Britain has given almost 3.6 million people a first dose of coronavirus vaccine so far. The government has turned the country's cathedrals into vaccine centers as part of the extensive inoculation drive. The Chinese mainland reported 109 new COVID-19 cases, out of which 96 were locally transmitted. Over in France, a curfew has taken effect to slow coronavirus spread. Globally, the virus has claimed over 2,021,000 lives, while infecting nearly 94.5 million people so far. Meanwhile, in Pakistan, 43 people have lost their lives to COVID-19 over the past 24 hours. This takes the country's death toll to over 10,951. The Ministry of Health says 2,470 new infections were detected overnight. It said currently there are more than 34,000 active COVID-19 cases in the country. The ministry said out of over 519,000 countrywide cases, more than 473,000 people have recovered. Earlier, Pakistan approved the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine for emergency use. Moving on now, a large number of protesting farmers have planned to move to Delhi borders as early as January 20th to avoid long jams on the roads. They will participate in the tractor parade planned for Republic Day on the 26th of January in the capital. Farm leaders estimate the participation of almost 100,000 tractors from over 7,000 villages from Haryana alone. Meanwhile, opposition party Congress attacked Prime Minister Modi, saying he has become a slave of the big capitalists. Over the past 54 days of protests, over 80 farmers have lost their lives, out of which 4 have committed suicide in the protests against the farm laws. The 9th round of discussions between the government and farm unions ended in a deadlock, with the next round set for January 19th. Now in France, thousands took to the streets in Paris to protest against a new security bill. The bill is part of President Emmanuel Macron's drive to get tougher on law and order ahead of elections in 2022. The government introduced the security bill to increase its surveillance capabilities. It also aims to restrict rights on circulating images of police officers in the media and online. But opponents say the plan will restrict civil liberties. In the past 3 months, France has been hit by a wave of protests taking aim at the proposed bill. Now, Britain has invited G7 leaders to the group's first in-person meeting in nearly 2 years. The summit will take place in England's southwestern resort of Corbis Bay in Cornwall in June. In a statement, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said he aimed to forge a consensus to revive the global economy from COVID-19 crisis. He stressed the need to unite with a spirit of openness to create a better future. Johnson termed the coronavirus pandemic the most destructive force and the greatest test of the modern world. Last year's G7 meeting, due to be hosted by the US, was cancelled because of the pandemic. G7 leaders have not met in person since 2019 meeting in France. Now moving to Austria, where thousands have gathered in the capital Vienna to protest against the coronavirus restrictions. They called on the government to resign just as Chancellor Sebastian Kurz held talks about extending the curbs. Waving Austrian flags, most of the demonstrators refused to wear masks or respect social distancing rules. The Alpine country is currently in its 3rd lockdown in a bid to bring the pandemic under control. Austria has recorded around 7,000 deaths from COVID-19 since the start of the pandemic. In Italy, at least 5 people have died at a nursing home from suspected carbon monoxide poisoning. In a tweet, the fire brigade said the incident occurred in Lanuvio town near Rome. The official said 7 people, including 2 health workers, are being treated in the hospital. The nursing home was managing an outbreak of coronavirus after a health worker tested positive. More news coming up in this bulletin after a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now, a volcano in Indonesia's East Java province has erupted, spewing a cascade of ash. According to the geological agency, the volcano poured clouds of smoke that went up as high as 5.6 kilometers. Mount Semeru is the highest volcano on the Java island. However, there have been no reports of casualties or evacuations. Semeru is also known as the Great Mountain, and it's one of the most active volcanoes in the country. Other volcanoes in Indonesia have also shown signs of activity recently. Now, in Hungary, a woman, colloquially known as Teddy Bear Mama, has a collection of thousands of teddy bears. As Hungary tightens COVID-19 restrictions, the teddy bears wait in the warehouse to bring joy to children in local nurseries. Let's find out more in this report.
In a small village in eastern Hungary, more than 20,000 teddy bears are hibernating in a warehouse as they wait for the pandemic regulations to end.
Óvodáknak, bölcsödéknek.
I give away teddy bears to nurseries, preschools, and poor families. I also organize exhibitions for children institutions. A kind of therapeutic teddy bear corner with about 30 to 50 bears, with which children can play. These are very sweet little exhibits, but unfortunately, because of the virus situation now, I cannot arrange these exhibitions anymore.
Valeria Schmidt, a 62-year-old woman, looks after her precious collection of bears amid the resurgence of coronavirus. Schmidt is the mother of 4 children and has been collecting teddy bears for the past 40 years. Her passion for the bears stems from her childhood traumas when she suffered heavily at the hands of her parents' divorce, her mother's addiction, and poverty. After a troubled childhood, the Hungarian collector hugs and strokes her teddies many times a day. She believes that teddy bears have cured her soul.
Now these teddy bears have made up for all the hunger, all the lack of love, lack of toys and everything. Especially when I see children coming to see my exhibition and I see the joy and happiness in their eyes, that gives me a compensation for everything. So the wounds of my childhood have healed.
Valeria Schmidt entered the Guinness Book of World Records in 2019 for the world's largest collection of teddy bears.
Now, the US-China Business Council has called on the US to reduce tariffs on China. The joint report with Oxford Economics said the move would benefit global economic development. The report said Washington has long benefited from its trade with Beijing. It noted that the US-China economic trade war has resulted in an estimated peak loss of 245,000 jobs in the United States. The report added the trade war escalation may result in a loss of $1.6 trillion to the US economy, with a peak loss of 732,000 jobs over the next 5 years. The flag carrier of the United Arab Emirates has stopped flights to 3 biggest cities of Australia. The step was taken as Australia further restricts international arrivals over fears of new virus strains. In a statement, Emirates Airline said the flights are suspended to Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne. But it added the airline will still run 2 flights a week to Perth. The suspension has created a hurdle for thousands of Australians attempting to return home. Australia's borders have effectively been closed since March last year to curb the spread of the virus. And now let's have a look at the weather updates. And that is all for now. For the latest updates, you can follow us on social media at Indus.News.